let's try to make this one a little bit quicker. One of the things that I find to be invaluable in my relationship with higher wisdom, higher intelligence, source, I sometimes call it guidance, is using my own system as a way of discerning whether I should say yes or no to something. And usually I feel that in my gut. So just, right below, here's my heart center, and just below that. Um, and this is really important for heart health because that guidance, sometimes we go against, or we say yes when we want to say no, and we say no when we want to say yes, and it gets all convoluted, and mostly our mind is involved. We don't really engage or request input from our higher wisdom, our higher guidance, which is a body felt sensation. We have to be embodied to feel our the intelligence of our wisdom that is literally pouring forth from every cell. So only using our mind is a very limited way of making decisions. So um, if you have a choice to make, and start with easy things, start with things that are not very consequential in your life. You can start with which underwear to wear, which outfit to pick one day, and just kind of try to get a feeling for how your body feeds back in terms of yeses and nos. So a yes is usually a feeling of lightness, like like there's an opening in your system. There's a spaciousness in your system. There's a lightening, an interest in your system. And a no for me usually is a contraction. It's usually this sort of, and so I tend to call this thing, whatever we're going to call it, how to listen to guidance, light or tight. And I use it for almost everything, and I have for decades. And it never fails me. The only time it fails me is when I second guess what my body's wisdom has fed back to me. And I get my mind all wrapped up into it, and I go back, yeah, but, and then if I make a decision opposite to what my body has told me, there's usually a mess I have to clean up. So um, you take any decision. So whether it's, should I go to this store or that store? Should I choose this project or that project? Should I say yes to this invitation or no? Should I eat this food or that? Or should I any of those everything. I mean, we have to make decisions all day long, and this is a version of using our creative self, because our creative life force will creatively guide us to good decisions, and steer us away from decisions that are going to cost us in the end, like messes to clean up, or feelings that aren't very fun to feel, like trying to get out of something we said yes to when we really didn't want to in the first place, but we did anyway. So you take you take one decision at a time, one choice that you need to make at a time, and you take equal amount of time for as if you're choosing it this way, and the same amount of time as if you're choosing it this way. And you go through as many of the things that you would know about. Like, if you were to choose it this way, then there's going to be certain things that you would do and people you would have a conversation with. But if you chose it this way, it would be a little bit different than that. And one of them will be lighter than the other. Sometimes it's subtle, sometimes it's obvious. And I usually, it's just, if you practice this on things that don't really have consequences initially, you'll get to feel how your body feels when it's contracting as a no, or when it's opening and sort of lightening up as a yes. So play with that, for things that don't really matter in the end, and then start applying it to things that do mean a little bit more to you, and see how your body's wisdom is such a good guidance. It's such a good GPS system for helping us understand why. Well, maybe I shouldn't say it's about the why, but the why ends up being because our higher wisdom has a much broader view of the overall picture than our smaller mind does. Our smaller mind is just sort of honing in on a small portion of it, where our greater, higher intelligence connected to source in the field sees more of the broader scope than we can see. And then our our feeling state, our embodied feeling state of light or tight, is representative of that broader view. And I have come to really appreciate that that broader view is so helpful, because sometimes we just can't see that far in advance or that far wide, but our higher wisdom can. And then it's given to us in the form of a light feeling or a tight feeling. So play with that and see how it goes for you, and let me know.